Hey there, and a big welcome to all you amazing TK through second grade teachers. If you've been searching for a really practical way to build critical thinking in your classroom, you've definitely come to the right place. We're going to break down a super simple but powerful framework called Think, Find, Show.
So let's start with the big question, right? It's one we all wrestle with. How do we get our youngest students to go beyond just memorizing stuff? How do we get them to understand how they know what they know? It's all about building that foundation for real reasoning. I mean, a lot of us grew up with flashcards, right? Just endless repetition. A's for apple, B's for boy, and that was pretty much it. But the world today, it's different. It's asking for a lot more. We've got to teach the process of thinking, logically, right from the very beginning.
And that's exactly where this tool comes in. It might look simple, but it is so powerful. It's a consistent framework that gives kids a clear path for their thinking, and the best part is, it grows with them, from the little 4-year-olds all the way up.
You know, the magic of this whole thing is its simplicity. It basically takes the entire scientific method and boils it down into 3 steps that even a 5-year-old can get. So first, you think. That's your claim, your hypothesis. Second, you find. You go get the proof, the evidence you can see or hear. And third, you show. You explain the why, the logic that connects your evidence to your claim. And here, you can see the whole journey laid out. Just look at how consistent it is. It doesn't matter if the task is finding a sound or using a glossary, that mental muscle, think, find, show, is the same every single time. So we're not just creating a worksheet here, we're literally building a new way of thinking. You know, there's a name for this in education. It's called cognitive scaffolding. And this method is just a perfect example. We're not throwing kids into the deep end with these big, complex problems. We're giving them a structure, a scaffold to build on. It makes every new challenge feel possible, and it reinforces that core thinking skill over and over again. Okay, so let's see what this actually looks like in the classroom. We're going to start at the very beginning, with sounds and letters in TK and kindergarten. All right, picture a TK classroom. A 4-year-old is looking at a picture of a cat. The task? Just find the onset, that very first sound. And honestly, the mental leap here is huge. They have to pull apart the abstract sound k from the real furry animal they know and love. And get this, look at how they prove it. It's not a guess, it's like a formula. They show that the beginning sound k plus the rest of the word at equals cat. It's basically a math equation, but for language. How cool is that? Okay, now let's jump ahead to kindergarten. We're using the very same picture, but we've upped the ante. Now it's not just about that first sound. It's about breaking down the entire word and spelling the whole thing out. So the reasoning might sound simple. I listened to the sounds and figured out the letters. But for a 5-year-old, that is a gigantic leap in thinking. They're actually explaining their own thought process. They're telling you how their brain just worked to solve the problem. That's metacognition right there. So as we climb the ladder into 1st and 2nd grade, the journey keeps going. But now, the thinking gets a little more abstract. We start moving away from just using our senses and start applying universal rules and using tools. So here we are in 1st grade, and the question is about syllables in the word window. Now, how do we usually teach this? We clap it out, right? Window. But think about it. Clapping is kind of subjective. What if a student claps 3 times? This framework asks for something better, for objective proof. And this is where the magic happens. The student finds the vowels, I and O, and uses those as the evidence. Their reasoning isn't because I clapped twice. It's a universal rule of language. Every syllable needs 1 vowel. That is airtight, logical, deductive reasoning coming from a 6-year-old. It's amazing. By the time we get to 2nd grade, the training wheels are really coming off. We've shifted from learning to read to reading to learn. Now the question is about using text features. You see a new word, how do you figure out what it means? The skill isn't just about sounds anymore, it's about navigating information. So what's really happening here? They're learning a crucial life skill. They're learning to spot a problem, I don't know this word, and then find the right tool to fix it, in this case, the glossary. They're learning how to find information that they don't already have in their own heads. Okay, so let's zoom out. Why does all of this really matter when they leave your classroom? Well, because this simple little framework, it isn't really about phonics or syllables. It's about building a mind that's ready for a really complex world. When you get right down to it, this is what you're teaching them. You're creating thinkers who don't just take things at face value. They learn to ask for proof,
They learn to look for the logic. They learn how to explain their own thinking and how to spot when an argument doesn't have any legs to stand on.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? You're not just giving them another assignment to fill out. You are installing the fundamental operating system for logical, evidence-based thinking. It's the mental software that's going to serve them for their entire lives.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What happens to our world, say, 20 years from now, when an entire generation shows up to work, to their communities, to the voting booths, and they have been trained since they were 4 years old to filter out nonsense and always, always ask for the proof? That's the real impact of the incredible work you do every single day.